In this video, I'm going to show you guys how I turned the plain boring wall that used to be right behind me, and now it's this beautiful accent wall. So let's go. To get things started, I decided to wipe down the walls to get any dust or spiderwebs that might be on the surface. A broom was very helpful to help me reach the top of these 10-foot tall walls. Once I gave my walls a good once over, I started to find and mark my studs on the wall. This would make nailing the trim to the studs much easier in that process. I used a long piece of plywood to mark a straight line on the wall following the stud, making sure it was vertical by using a level. This step is not necessary at all, and you will see me use the stud finder a lot more in this video. For this project, I'm going to be using 1x2 by 10 foot long prime MDF trim. I picked it up at Lowe's for about $5 each, and I needed a total of 16 strips. I'm also going to be using a Ryobi airless nailer with 2-inch nails. The first piece of trim we're going to be installing is going to be at the bottom. Since I already had my studs marked here, it's easy for me just to lay my piece on the top of the baseboard and send some nails through it to secure it to the wall. Because this wall is approximately 16 feet long, we are going to be using 2 trim pieces. I cut the end of the adjoining pieces to 45 degrees, that way it makes the seam much less visible. When it comes to the corner, I like to cut a small amount of trim board that will be hitting the corner of the wall so that it can sit flush against the wall. This will never be seen after we add the vertical trim. When I came to trim around this opening in the wall, I used the level to make sure my trim was going straight up the wall. I also had an interesting situation when it came to the top of this archway. I wasn't sure how I was going to trim around it. At first, I thought I was going to make a template and cut some 3/4 inch MDF to match the shape and size of the trim. But then I remember I had some experience on bending wood. That's right, I took the trim over to the table saw and started to cut curves in it. If you want a more in-depth video on bending wood by using curve cuts, check out this video. I added a card on the top right as well. Okay, back to the project. The curve bending ended up working perfectly. I was able to bend the trim to match the curve of the arch. All I had left to do is to cut some small filler pieces for the ends. Using a small handsaw here was a cost, since cutting small pieces like this on the table saw and miter saw can be dangerous. After we have our entire border framed out, we can start the fun process of adding our not so random trim pieces. I do say not so random because I did do a quick sketch to see what my mother and I would like. The design is very simple. All it is 45 and 90 degree angles. So I just started with the longest piece that happens to be in the middle and worked my way out from there. The placement doesn't need to be 100% spot on from the sketch, as long as it's in the same general location to give it the same look. I'm using a carpenter square to make sure all angles were 45 when they needed to be, and 90 degrees when they needed to be. To fill in the small gaps I have in between my boards and in my arch, I'm going to be using Dry Deck Spackle by DAP. Not sponsored, but DAP, if you're watching, hit me up. Oh, and an 1.5 inch putty knife. Also, to get a professional look and finish, you're going to want to caulk all your trim pieces. I use this paintable fast dry caulk that doesn't require a caulk gun. A quick little sanding with 220 grit sandpaper and we're almost ready for paint. To paint my walls, I'm going to be using Grizzle's handheld airless paint sprayer. So I needed to add painter's tape around the whole thing to protect my other walls. For the top, I went with Scotch Blue Premium Masking Film. And let me tell you, this stuff sucks. I had the hardest time getting this thing to stick to anything other than itself. I think I struggled with this for a good half hour or so, and when I was painting the wall, it would come loose. I do not recommend this product to anybody. If you see this in the store, run the other direction.
Oh, hell no!
Eventually it did stay on long enough for me to paint, and paint I did. The color I went with is called Grizzly Gray by Sherwin-Williams, and I went with a flat finish. Overall, I think the color fits well in the space and complements the lighter gray walls next to it. But let me know what you think in the comment section below about this color. I was a little sloppy with my spraying as I was having trouble with the paint sprayer tip, but I got it to work in the end. I did do a second coat off camera and touch up some problem areas with a brush. After the paint was dry and I removed the painter's tape, this project was done. Let me know what you guys think about this accent wall down in the comment section below. If you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, also hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Until next time, I'll catch you in the next video.